welcome to Bad Ideas, the show where we look at misfires, mistakes, and miscalculations from all throughout history. Today, we're talking about Aqua Dots.
Aqua Dots!
Or, as they were known in their native Australia, Bindeez. Bindeez were produced by an Australian company called Moose Enterprises, and they were one of the top hottest toys of 2007. Toy Wishes magazine, which is apparently a real magazine that exists, had ranked them as one of the top 10 toys of the 2007 holiday season, and it's easy to understand why. The concept of this toy is really cool. You take these little beads, you arrange them in a pattern on a grid, and then all you have to do is add water, and the beads magically stick together. Except since magic isn't real, what was actually happening was water was activating a chemical on the surface of the beads, which caused them to stick together. And here's where things get interesting. You see, even though Aqua Dots came from Australia originally, and even though they were being sold in the United States, they were being made in China. Now, this is pretty standard practice in the business world. All you have to do is send your specifications for whatever product you want to build to a factory in China. They've already got all the stuff to make it. They send you a model and say, hey, is this how you want it? You say, yes, good. And then they start shipping your product directly to stores. It's basically like magic. Except, as we've already mentioned, magic isn't real. And it turns out that from time to time, there can be some real consequences in having your product built in a place that you've never visited and having it shipped directly to your customers. See, Aqua Dots were supposed to be coated with a chemical called 1,5 pentanediol. But 1,5 pentanediol was a little bit expensive. And so, someone, somewhere at the factory in China, made the choice to substitute in the very similar, but not quite identical, 1,5 butanediol. Now, I'm not a chemist. I don't know a lot about these chemicals. I'm not even sure I could tell you exactly what their function was in the production of Aqua Dots. But what I do know is this. When you put 1,4 butanediol in your body synthesizes it into a drug that is commonly known on the street as fantasy. Fantasy is a sedative, among other things. It seems to have a lot of weird side effects, but the upshot of what we're going to be talking about today is that it really, really knocks you out. In large doses, it can knock you out completely, like into a coma. So, we have very small beads being shipped out to very small children, coated with a chemical which, if ingested, is synthesized into a date rape drug. I feel like everybody can guess where this is going next. Yes, some kids did put aqua beads in their mouth. Quite a number of aqua beads in some cases, I guess because kids enjoy drugs as much as the next person. And in some cases, it resulted in very serious medical trauma. Children were sent to the hospital where they were in comas for several days in some cases. Now, Moose Enterprises acted very quickly once they realized there was a problem with Aqua Dots. They issued a recall. They asked stores to pull the product from shelves. But in a perverse bit of backlash that is also almost as predictable as children putting things in their mouths, teens in Australia and America who heard that you could maybe get high off of Aqua Dots and Bindeez started trying to find and buy up as many Aqua Dots and Bindeez as they could find for crafts, because teens love to do crafts. In addition to the lost profits from having to pull their product from store shelves, the company also lost a lawsuit to an Arizona couple who sued for medical damages after their 18-month-old ingested enough of these beads to put him in a coma. Ultimately, the idea for Aqua Dots was a great plan for a toy, but The choice to have them manufactured in a place where you had very little control over the quality, where you couldn't oversee what was happening, and where the specific chemical being used in the production of the toy turned out to be the bad idea in this story. And this came at a time when Chinese companies were also being heavily criticized for using leaded paint in some of their toy products. If you can't trust your manufacturers, you can't have a safe product. And more than anything, parents want their kids to be playing with safe toys. Moose Enterprises had a cool idea for a toy, and they still have lots of cool toys on the market. But their choice to manufacture these toys in China with very little oversight ended up costing them big time. And that is the bad idea for this week. That is all we have for today. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this, you should click on that like button if you're over on YouTube. And if you're listening to the audio version of this podcast, subscribe, tell a friend about us, and check out our Patreon at patreon.com/humanechoes to help keep these things coming. We'll see y'all next time.